The Bills traveled to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals in Week 11 in a must-win for both teams. It was a tough game to watch at times, but they left Ohio with the W. There's no denying that injuries played a huge part in the game. Buffalo was without Eric Wood, Sammy Watkins, and they even lost Robert Woods and Lesean McCoy during the game. For the Bengals, their whole game plan was thrown out the window on the first drive of the game. AJ Green was carted off, and the Bengals' offensive production, especially down the field, suffered. So let's jump into the film room to break down the changes that occurred within the game. The Bills were the number 2 team offensively in the first halves of games this season, and that's because offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn game plans well. In the first half of this game, Lynn scripted some easy concepts so that Tyrod was efficient. This concept is a spot concept. As Clay runs up the seam, the hook to curl defender must carry him, and that leaves the hook to curl area open for an easy pitch and catch. Tyrod takes a snap, transfers his weight, and throws an accurate ball on time. Lynn also utilized the sail concept from a 3x1 wide receiver set. The Bengals are pattern matching to the top of the screen, so as Tate gets vertical, the coverage turns the man, and that puts Tate one-on-one with the safety. On the snap, Tate works through traffic as Taylor progresses through his 5-step drop. As a QB hitches up in the pocket, he encounters pressure in his face. He does just enough to drop the ball into Tate. Taylor was efficient in the first half. He completed 11 passes out of 13 for 99 yards, but he did leave a few plays on the field. On this play, the Bengals rush 4, and Taylor appears to miss Clay deep down the middle. Instead, he checks it down to Shady. Taylor wants to work the switch concept run by Woods and Harvin, but decides against it. Clay stretches the field vertically, but Taylor dumps it down, bypassing the big play to Clay. Taylor had his ups and downs, but I did like how he recognized the corner blitz here. He and Woods are on the same page, leading to a 24-yard gain. Multiple personnel groupings and formations are staples in Lynn's offense. Here he uses 21 personnel with Clay and Felton in the offline tight end position. The Bills get the double team by Mills and Miller at the point of attack. Miller finishes off Watkins as Ritchie and Felton lead the counter tray. McCoy makes safety Sean Williams miss and gains 21 yards. On the Bills' lone touchdown of the day, the Bills use a similar formation but utilize 12 personnel. The play is designed beautifully. Lynn throws several false reads at the second-level defenders. Tyrod takes a snap and puts the ball in the belly of McCoy. The unblocked defender is caught in a bind. The action by Taylor looks like veer option. No matter what, Dunlap should crash on Shady, but he doesn't, because he's worried about Taylor scooting out the front side like he's done several times this year. Look at how the action of O'Leary, Taylor, and McCoy affect the inside linebacker and backside defender. Lynn had the whole defense confused, and that allows Shady to trot into the end zone. On defense in the first half, the Bills played bend but don't break. With Dareus and Williams now paired together, the Bills were able to limit the Bengals' 2 very talented backs. After Green's injury, Buffalo's defensive game plan changed. The Bills were able to play more tight man coverage, which plays to the strengths of their corners. Once Gilmore sees the pace of the receiver change, he breaks hard on the ball, picks it off, and returns it to the Bengals' 3-yard line. Coming into the game, Cincinnati and Andy Dalton attempted the 4th highest percentage of passes over 20 yards. With their number 1 deep threat gone, the down-the-field passing game was non-existent. Dalton was 1 for 3 for 21 yards on passes over 20 yards. Give an assist to the defensive front. According to Pro Football Focus, they produced 15 total pressures. They harassed Dalton all day. Mike Nugent's 2 missed extra points would loom large late in the game, and it led to Buffalo being down at the half 12-10. The Bills' defense allowed 190 total yards in the first half, 123 of which were versus the pass. Dennis Thurman's defense tightened in the second half, which has been the case all season. Going into the game, they were ranked as the 10th best unit in the second half of games. The defense shifted to more of a cover 2 look in the second half. They used Seymour on Tyler Eifert on several occasions. Seymour did a great job from the slot. He only allowed 2 catches for 16 yards. With Eifert as only true threat, Thurman was able to scheme ways to stop him, often using double teams and robber coverages. The Bills showed 2 safeties high, but post-snap drop into cover 1 robber. Graham robs the middle of the field. The Brown brothers are essentially zoning off the running back Bernard and tight end Tyler Eifert. Eifert runs a crossing route, so he's taken by Preston, as Zach picks up Bernard. The Bills' run defense was critical to the win. In the second half, Buffalo only allowed 32 yards rushing. Kyle Williams was his usual disruptive self. On this play, he penetrates upfield, holds his ground, and brings down Hill as the back runs inside zone. His play in the second half was a driving force behind the Bengals' struggles. He lived in the backfield. Watch how quickly he fires out of his stance, reads the guard's blocking intentions, executes a swim move, and brings the back down. Williams was the highest graded run defender for Buffalo according to Pro Football Focus, but having Mr. Big Stuff back in the lineup helped as well. Dareus finished the game with 1 sack, 1 QB hurry, 2 tackles, and 2 stops. The 2 paired together forced the Bengals into several 3rd and long scenarios. And that is where Rex and company want to be. It allows Thurman to call pressure and simulated pressure plays. On this play, they have 6 possible rushers near the line of scrimmage. On the snap, Hughes peels off to cover the back, and Williams spies Dalton. The cover 2-man call allowed the Bills' defensive backs to play aggressive near the line of scrimmage. Darby has help over the top, so he takes away the inside release, then uses the trail technique to stay underneath the receiver. The coverage is so good that a perfect pass would not be good enough. The Bills' secondary stepped their game up versus a scheme that attacks defenses down the field, but Buffalo's passing offense faced just the opposite in the second half. They saw more single high safety, press man looks. With Woods down, the Bengals challenged the receivers to win one-on-one matchups. Taylor on the offense struggled to do so. Tyrod only completed 57% of his passes for 60 yards in the second half. Much like the first half, he did lift some big plays on the field. On third down, Clay chips, then releases downfield and is wide open, but Taylor decides to throw it to the drag route run by Percy. Harvin falls short of the sticks, forcing fourth down. So the offense had to rely on its running game. Buffalo racked up 129 yards in the second half, thanks to some scramble plays by Tyrod, but also plays called by Lynn. On this play, Lynn dials up the pin and pull run. Mills executes the pin or down block on Atkins as Miller pulls, but I want you to watch Ryan Groy. His effort and angle on the linebacker allowed Gillislee to cut against the grain, which leads to a 13-yard gain. Gillislee got in a rhythm in the second half. He carried the ball 12 times versus 2 times in the first half. His physical and decisive running style creates yards after contact. He finished the game with 72 yards, 58 of which came after contact. On this very same drive with the Bills up 13-12, Taylor swung the field. On this play, as he is about to pull the ball down to run, he spots Tate in an open window. The former Bengal scoots down to the Bengals' 29-yard line for a 34-yard gain. Buffalo finishes the drive early in the fourth quarter with another Carpenter field goal, putting them up 16-12. The defense then forced 3 straight 3-and-outs, eventually giving the offense the ball with just over 4 minutes left. As expected, Lynn pounded the rock. Here's the same pin and pull play. Watch Miller help Goodwin steal the edge for Gillislee to gain 7 yards. The run keeps the clock running and Lynn puts in the big back Williams. It was time to bully the Bengals' defensive line, and Groy and Ritchie do just that. Look at how they worked the double team, allowing Williams to rip off 9 yards. The Bengals were forced to call their second timeout after this play. Buffalo then brings in an extra lineman and runs power with Ritchie leading. Groy blocks down so Ritchie can pull to kick out Vinny Ray. The right side of the line dominates, and Williams breaks the tackle, leading to a 7-yard gain. Buffalo's drive only consisted of 5 plays, but it forced the Bengals to burn the rest of their timeouts. Cincinnati got the ball back with 2:30 left on the clock. The Bills played vanilla defense and allowed the Bengals to drive down the field, but Dalton still had to throw the ball in some tight windows. The win was the result of a solid defensive effort. The Bills need to string together some wins, and they will look to go for their second in a row at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 12.